looks like we're almost done with our book. Do you hear that? You know the drill. Hopefully I'll be back.
Chapter 41. Let's go, Bradley, his mother said on a Saturday morning as she entered his room. We're off to a real barber shop. She said it as if a barber shop was the most wonderful place in the world. In the past, she'd always cut Bradley's hair herself, but this time he had asked to go to a real barber shop. That was earlier in the week when they were out buying the birthday present for Colleen. You make my head look like a chili bowl, he complained. Now he sadly looked up at his mother and said, I don't want to get my hair cut. You want to look nice for Colleen's party tomorrow, don't you? She asked. You don't want to look like a punk rocker. I'm not going to her birthday party, he snapped. I hate her. Bradley's mother left him alone. He heard Carla's voice in his mind. Saturday, I'm going to need some help to help me move all my things out of my office. I would appreciate it if you would come and help me. The knot in his stomach tightened. No, I hate you, he said out loud. His father knocked, then came into his room. Bradley, I think we need to talk, he said. Man to man. Bradley stood up. Why don't you tell me what's bothering you? Asked his father. Maybe I can help. Bradley didn't want any help. I'm very sorry to hear that your counselor had been transferred to another school, said his father. I know how much you liked her. At first, I didn't like the idea of you seeing a counselor, but I have to get my hair cut, said Bradley. Mom said so. He walked out of his room, leaving his father behind him. His mother drove him to the barber shop. Carla's voice spoke in his mind. We could have lunch together. We can go to a restaurant. The knot pulled tighter. Just the two of us. And tighter. It'll be lots of fun, Carla said. It would be a great help to me. And tighter. Maybe I'll see you on Saturday, said Carla. I would like that very much. And tighter. You're not Cinderella, and I'm not Prince Charming. And tighter. I like you, Bradley. I can like you, can't I? You don't have to like me. The knot pulled so tight it broke. Stop the car! He shouted. I have to go back. The car swerved. Don't do that again, exclaimed his mother. We could have been in an accident. I don't believe in accidents. I'm getting sick and tired of your nonsense, Bradley. What is your problem? I can't get my hair cut now. I have to go to school. On Saturday? I'm supposed to see my counselor. She's waiting to see me. Call the school if you don't believe me. The car stopped in the parking lot in front of the barber shop. We're here, his mother said sternly. You're getting a haircut now. He stepped out of the car and reluctantly followed his mother into the barber shop. It smelled oily, like hair and oil and stale bubble gum all mixed together. All around him, mirrors, reflected mirrors. The place was ugly and the mirrors reflected the ugliness. Multiply it 100 times back and forth. They seemed to reflect the awful smell too. He couldn't believe he had asked his mother to take him to such a place. It was like some kind of horrible dungeon where kids went to be tortured. But worst of all, he had to wait his turn to be tortured. All the barber chairs were occupied. He sat on a torn red couch. You want to read a comic book? Asked his mother. No, thank you, he answered. Finally, it was his turn. He climbed into a slippery, oily vinyl barber chair. The barber tied a shiny apron tightly around his neck, nearly choking him to death. The barber began combing his hair. Bradley wondered why he had to comb it if he was going to cut it anyway. At last, the barber picked up the scissors and began to cut. He never cut off a big piece of hair all at once. Instead, he kept snipping little bits of hair off the same piece of hair over and over and over again. The whole time, Bradley had to stare at himself through the filmy mirror. He gritted his teeth and waited for it to be over. The barber put down the scissors. but then he picked up the comb and started combing again. I knew he shouldn't have combed it before, Bradley thought. Now he just has to do it again. The barber sprayed some kind of smelly gunk in Bradley's head, combed his hair one last time, then unhooked the apron around Bradley's neck. Bradley quickly hopped off the chair before the barber could change his mind. The barber wasn't through. He made Bradley stand still as he ran a small vacuum cleaner across his neck. When he finished, he offered Bradley a piece of bubble gum. I hate gum, said Bradley. He never used to hate gum, but after smelling it in the barber shop, he never wanted another piece again. You'll be the most handsome boy at Colleen's party, his mother said as they walked outside. Can you drive to the school, please? He asked. She nodded. 10 minutes later, he jumped out of the car, ran up the steps of the front of the school, and pulled on the glass double doors. They were locked. He pressed his face against the glass and looked inside. Mrs. Kemp, the janitor, was waxing the floors. He pounded the door until she looked up. Mrs. Kemp scowled at him as he opened the door. What do you want, Chalkers? I have to see Miss Davis, he said. Miss Davis is gone. He ducked under her arm, which held the open door, and ran into the building. Chalkers! She shouted after him. I'll call the police! He opened the door to Carla's office and stepped inside. Except for the round table and chairs, the room was empty. But in his mind, he heard Carla say, Hello, Bradley. It's a pleasure to see you today. I appreciate you coming to see me. Tears rolled down his face. He noticed a large manila envelope lying on the table. He picked it up. Bradley Chalkers was written across it in big letters. Under that, in small letters, was the following. Mrs. Ebble's class, room 12. Good friend, honest, thoughtful, caring, polite, whom I will never forget, and whom I hope will someday forgive me. Last seat, last row. There you are, said Mrs. Kemp as she came in after him. If you don't get out of here right now, I'm going to call the police. Look, he exclaimed, holding an envelope. She left this for me. See? We're friends. Carla and me. We're best friends. You have 10 seconds to leave the building, said Mrs. Kemp. 1, 2. He took the envelope and left. He opened it on the playground next to the monkey bars. Inside was the book, My Parents Didn't Steal an Elephant, by Uriah C. Lasso, and a letter. Dear Bradley, this book was a present from me to you. It was a gift from the heart, and that kind of gift, for better for worse, can never be returned. I'm sorry for hurting you. I didn't mean to. If it makes you feel any better, you hurt me too. When you didn't come to see me Friday or Saturday, I kept hoping I'd see your happy face walk through the door. Hope you didn't mind that I gave your book report to Mrs. Ebble. It was just too good to throw away. You can do such wonderful work. Now, if only you can learn how not to rip it up. I hope you went to Colleen's birthday party. If you did, I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you didn't go, that's all right too. There will be lots of other parties. You're a very likable person. You'll always be very special to me. It was always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to see you. I appreciate your coming to see me. Thank you for sharing so much with me. I love you, Carla. Bradley's father was leaning on his cane on the front stoop when Bradley came walking home. I want to talk to you, Bradley, he said sternly. Bradley ran over to him and hugged him, nearly knocking him over. Chapter 42. Bradley tried writing a letter to Carla. His father had suggested it. He crumpled up a piece of paper and threw it in the waste paper basket. He didn't know what to say to her. The words he wanted hadn't been invented yet. Ronnie hopped along, singing doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. The other animals were taking another vote. We took another vote, the lion told Ronnie. We like you the best. I like all of you the best, said Ronnie. Bartholomew walked up to her. I love you, Ronnie, he said. Will you marry me? Yes, said Ronnie. And I saved you from the quicksand too, said Bartholomew. So you didn't die. That's good, said Ronnie. I'm very glad to hear that. That's a short chapter. Chapter 43. Colleen, wearing a new red dress, anxiously waiting for her guests to arrive, except for Laurie and Melinda. She hadn't told anybody that there would be boys at her party. The doorbell rang. Her heart jumped. She hoped it would be Jeff, and also hoped it wouldn't be. She composed herself and opened the door. It was Judy and Betty. They each gave her a present. Ooh, what is it? Colleen asked as she took a gift, but of course they didn't tell her. Who else is coming? Asked Judy, and the three girls sat and waited in the living room. Colleen counted her fingers, naming her guests. Well, there's you two, and Laurie, Melinda, Karen, Amy, Dina. She paused, and the last two names very quickly, and Jeff and Bradley. Bradley? Questioned Betty. Bradley Chalkers? Oh no. Judy looked like she was about to faint. You didn't say there were going to be boys at your party, said Betty. Didn't I? Colleen asked innocently. I thought I did. I don't think I'm allowed to go to boy and girl party, said Judy. Okay, but you gave me a present, said Colleen. They decided to stay. When the bell rang again, all three girls screamed. But it was only Amy and Dina. Amy and Dina were dressed exactly alike, right down to the shoes and socks. They were best friends, and their parents often took them shopping together. They always bought the same clothes. Then before a party, or even just before school sometimes, they'd call each other up and decide what to wear. Today, it was a blue dress with the white and yellow flowery things. Colleen invited boys, Betty told them. Bradley Chalkers, said Judy. Amy and Dina looked at each other in horror. Colleen took their presents from them. Before they could change their minds, both presents were wrapped in the same purple and green paper. Karen was the next to arrive. Colleen invited boys, everyone said to her as they stood in the doorway. Her mouth dropped open. Bradley Chalkers, said Betty. And the new kid, said Amy. Jeff Fishfood. Karen was very shy and quiet. If there were going to be boys at the party, she might not say one word at all. The doorbell rang. Everyone except Karen screamed. She held a pillow in front of her face. It was Laurie and Melinda. Colleen invited boys, everyone greeted them. Jeff Fishnose and Bradley Chalkers, said Dina. So we already knew that, said Laurie, as if there was no big deal to her. Oh well, nobody else did, said Judy. The 8 girls waited. They talked and laughed about how much Colleen would like her presents. They asked her what there would be to eat and what games they would play. The one thing they didn't talk about was boys, though it was the only thing on each of their minds. When Colleen told Dina there would be a three-legged race, the room turned very quiet. Each girl wondered if she would have to run it with the boy. Colleen planned to run the three-legged race with Jeff. It didn't occur to her that if she was partners with Jeff, another girl would have to be partners with Bradley. It was starting to get late. A new worry slowly crept into each girl's head. What if the boys didn't show up? It suddenly seemed that the party wouldn't be any fun at all without the boys. Where were they? Colleen's mother walked into the living room and counted heads. 8, she said out loud. Who's missing? Nobody answered. Oh, the boys, said Colleen's mother. Well, we can't wait much longer. Colleen looked like she was about to cry. Where were they? Chapter 44. The doorbell rang at Bradley's house. Bradley, wearing a cone-shaped party hat, ran to the front door and flung it open. He had a wild look in his eyes. Hi, said Jeff, holding Colleen's present under his arm. You ready? He was wearing old, comfortable clothes. His blue jeans had a small hole above the knee. It's wrapped, Bradley explained, with a bow. What? Muttered Jeff. Bradley ran back to his parents' bedroom. It's got to be wrapped, he told his mother, with a bow. She cut off a piece of tape and smiled at her son. I'm wrapping it now. Okay, good. He returned to the front door. My mother's wrapping it now, he told Jeff. He had been running around the house that way all morning as he desperately tried to get ready for the birthday party. He had already changed his clothes 6 times. He didn't know what he was supposed to wear. He didn't know what he was supposed to do. He didn't know what he didn't know. Claudia had given him the party hat to wear. She told him he wasn't allowed to take it off. They wrapped my present at the store where I got it, Jeff said. Bradley hardly heard him. Are you supposed to wear torn pants? He asked. What? He ran into the kitchen. He took a sharp knife from the drawer next to the sink and cut a hole in his pants just above the knee. Then he returned to the front door. Jeff was standing inside the house. Claudia was with him. Is my hat on straight? Bradley asked his sister. She looked him over. It's hard to tell, she explained, because your head's crooked. Mrs. Chalkers came down the hall holding Colleen's present in front of her. See, all wrapped, she said. Hello, you must be Jeff. I'm Bradley's mother. Hello, Mrs. Chalkers, said Jeff. It doesn't have a bow, Bradley shouted. Oh, I couldn't find any ribbon, said his mother. He stared at her in disbelief. It needs a bow, he wailed. He turned to Jeff. Doesn't it need a bow? No. Okay, he said happily. He took the present from his mother. She kissed him and told him to have fun. He and Jeff started out the door. Oh, Bradley, said his mother, you ripped your pants. I know. He closed the door. They headed up the sidewalk toward Colleen's. She lived 2 blocks away. You want my bow? Jeff asked. I could take it off. Bradley nervously shook his head. Are you alright? Jeff asked. Said Bradley, as he tried to say, I'm okay, but his mouth didn't work. You're acting kind of strange, said Jeff. Even for you, I mean. Bradley sighed and stopped walking. What's the matter? Jeff asked. Bradley trembled. He felt the same way as when he first tried to turn in his homework. I don't know what to do at a birthday party, he said, shivering. Jeff laughed. Bradley sat down on the curb. I haven't been to one in 3 years. Jeff looked impatiently up the street. Then he sat down next to his best friend. There's nothing to worry about, he said assuringly. Birthday parties are fun. How many birthday parties have you been to? Bradley asked. Jeff shrugged. A lot. What do you want to know? Everything. Okay, said Jeff. First, take off that. Okay, said Jeff. First, take off that dumb hat. So while the 8 girls anxiously waited, Jeff was patiently trying to teach Bradley everything he knew about birthday parties. Oh, looks like I need to go.
Well, Eleanor, what do you have to say for yourself this time? Anything? Anything you want to tell the kids? Nothing? Someday. Soon. Let's cross our fingers, Eleanor. Soon, right? Is that the plan? I hope so.